Hello, how are you all? I hope you're doing well. Happy Monday. I apologize for my super pink background. I'm still figuring out my software. I know some of you said you wanted my picture to be a little bit larger, so I did that. Some of you mentioned the audio, so I tried to fix the audio. Let me know how everything is and just bear with me while I figure out a background and a layout that works for everyone, and let me know your feedback. I'm a one-man band. Anyway, I really did not want to talk about the Oscars today. I was just hoping to avoid it at all costs. And it's really sad because 2 years ago, I loved the Oscars. I got excited to watch them. It was a whole thing. And now I just can't bear it for several reasons. And we'll get into one of the really big reasons. But I didn't want to talk about this. And then Will Smith had to go and do this. And it's not my choice, okay? I didn't cause this to happen. This is his fault. The reason I'm talking about this. But let's start. I don't know if you guys know this. So a huge question about what happened last night. By the way, if you don't know what happened, Chris Rock was hosting. He was telling jokes, roasting people in the audience, as one does at the Oscars. That's basically what hosting is all about. And then he made a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith, which is Will Smith's wife. And he said something along the lines of, I love you, Jada, and can't wait to see G.I. Jane. Yes, G.I. Jane 2. And if you don't know the movie G.I. Jane, which starred Demi Moore, and she had her head shaved. Well, Jada Pinkett Smith also has very, very short hair. And apparently, the reason that, well, according to her, the reason why she has very short hair is because she has alopecia, and she's been very outspoken about this. So, when he said this joke, now, whether or not Chris Rock knows that, whether or not Chris Rock knows that she has alopecia, I don't know. Maybe he doesn't, maybe he does. But that whole fact in and of itself made the joke a little. Personally, I didn't think it was a great joke, didn't think it was funny, just thought it was in poor taste. But it wasn't as bad as I've seen. I'm used to going to the Comedy Store. I love the roast. So to me, this was a pretty mild joke, although I can see how it was in poor taste, but still. Let's continue. So he said the joke. The camera immediately pans to Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. Will Smith is laughing. I would show you the video, but they are very sensitive about their copyright and stuff like that. The video is everywhere if you want to see it. But Will Smith laughs. Jada Pinkett Smith looks very upset. And then the camera pans immediately to Chris Rock, where then you see him look and he says, oh, and Will Smith starts walking on the stage, walks up to Chris Rock, smacks him in the face, and then walks away. And there's a big question online. Is this fake? Was it staged or was it real? Because as we know, the Academy, the ratings, this is Tim Pool, and Tim Pool actually, I believe, thinks it's staged. I do not, and I'll tell you why. This is the ratings for the Oscars over the past few years, and you can see the last Oscars in 2021, which is right here, was pretty low. It was 10.4 million, which at their peak in 2014 they had 43 million people watch, and apparently last night the ratings were a little bit higher than they were in 2021, but still not that good. So people are saying because the ratings are so bad, because nobody really cares anymore, this was staged. I don't think it was, for several reasons. Number one, I don't know if you know this about me, but I actually, in Hollywood, I took a physical comedy class at Second City, and we learned how to smack each other, and the way, like, physically how they were, it did not look like a stage smack. To me, the way that I learned how to do it, maybe there's other techniques, I don't know. It did not look staged. How you smack each other, there's a way that you can maneuver yourself, and you're actually smacking your own hand to make that sound. Again, maybe there's other ways, but it didn't look staged to me. Also, something you learn when you're anticipating a fake smack or a fake fall or a fake blow, it's your first instinct to put your arms up, because it's not natural to, like, plan yourself to be smacked. or to plan to fall. Usually it's an accident and human nature causes us to want to protect themselves. And Chris Rock didn't do that at all, which shows me that he was surprised, or they practiced this to the point where he was able to overcome that natural urge to protect yourself. What also made me think that this wasn't fake is if you watch the unedited version, if you just watch the smack and then you watch Will Smith leave the stage, and maybe a few seconds after, you might say it, I could see how it looked fake. And at first, I was about 60% sure that it was fake, even though none of that matched up. It just seemed too wild to be true to me. Again, even though I've had that training and it didn't look like the way that I was taught. Again, who knows? But after watching the full unedited version, which I don't believe is available on US television, I think people got these clips out of Australia. What happened next, you could clearly see that Chris Rock was fumbling his words. He was stunned. He was surprised. He messed up, again, like several words. He kept calling the nominee the documentary. I believe he was giving the award for best documentary and kept calling it, or kept calling the nominee the documentary. He was messing up a lot of words. And clearly it was just really uncomfortable. Also, right after Will Smith left the stage, he was screaming, "Keep my wife's name out of your effing mouth," and screamed it twice. So I don't think it was staged. And I don't think the Oscars would, if they were going to pull a stunt to get ratings, I don't think that was it. In my opinion, it was a really bad look for the Oscars. It was a really bad look for Will Smith. The joke wasn't funny, and it wasn't a joke that I particularly like, but it was pretty mild in the grand scheme of things, and that was Chris Rock's job. I think this kind of just opened the door to maybe how Will Smith is struggling with other things. I don't know. I know him and Jada Pinkett Smith have been very, very open about their controversial relationship and have, given people a lot of very personal details into their relationship publicly, even when nobody asked for it. So a part of me is like, you know what? You put yourself out there that much, where you talk about your personal life that much, you have to expect that people are going to say things that are offensive and that people are going to say things that you don't like. Even just making these little YouTube videos, I get some of the nastiest comments all the time. I don't let it get to me. I just hit delete and I move on, because unfortunately that is just a price you pay to be in the public eye, especially when you open up to the intimate details of your relationship, which is what him and Jada did by themselves, voluntarily. Also, I thought, I'm thinking about this too, and I'm like, he just went on the stage and assaulted someone. I'm like, if this was anyone else other than Will Smith or other than like a big celebrity at the Oscars, they would have had security escorting them off the stage right away, and they would have been kicked out of the event, and that is not what happened. Will Smith got his Oscar. And it was so funny because this is what the Academy put out after this happened. They said, "The Academy does not condone violence of any form. Tonight we are delighted to celebrate blah, 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 blah." Oh, you don't condone violence? So not only did you let it happen, you gave the person an Academy Award after it happened. And Will Smith gets on stage and he sort of apologized. He said, "I apologize to the Academy. I want to be an ambassador for love and kindness and all these other things." Meanwhile, his actions clearly were the opposite. How do I think he should have handled it? I think he should have just taken it at that time, addressed it with Chris personally later on, and maybe made a public statement about it later, saying, "My wife has this is why, and this is why we found it offensive, and I don't condone what Chris said, but we did talk, we apologized." But I just think that this sets a pretty dangerous precedent. Like, now you have to be worried if you're on stage at the Oscars, if you tell in a joke that someone might be offended by, they could just come on stage and smack you, and they'll get an Academy Award. Great. But I just think it was really bad. I think it was pretty embarrassing for Will Smith. I think that it was pretty embarrassing for the Academy. It made them look weak. And one more thing. Yeah, but here it is. This is right when it happened. And again, like, if I just saw that part, I would think it was staged, and I actually thought that at first, but I studied it very, very thoroughly. And if it wasn't staged, then I think Chris Rock needs to get an Academy Award for his work at the Oscars, because that was a really good performance. Very long, very drawn out, very detailed. But I think Chris handled it the best he could, but he was clearly shaken up and confused at first. But this is also what happened at the Oscars, talking about their ratings. While we're here discussing this subject, of course this was going to happen. So this is Amy Schumer, Wanda Sykes, and Regina Hall. And here they are giving their opinion about the bill that is being passed in Florida, the parental rights bill that we went over. This is why the ratings for the Oscars are down.
We're going to have a great night tonight, and for you people in Florida, we're going to have a gay night.
So, good for you, you didn't read the bill? I've never seen people so proud of themselves that they didn't read something before. I did see a tweet that was like, it was, ratings are down really bad for the Oscars. Ratings are down. What can we do? And Amy Schumer is like, wait a second. You want to see how low they can go? This is why, this is the type of sentiment that they were hosting. Like, this is the type of sentiment that the Oscars is showing us. And here's something about the bill in Florida. It is a bipartisan bill. Democrats and Republicans alike both agree on this bill. And I hate that I keep having to talk about this, but it's wild to me how you can get on a stage at an award show that millions of people watch and talk about something, and you didn't even read it. You didn't even do a little bit of research. And this is why people do not like to watch the Oscars. This is why Hollywood is not relevant anymore, because they are so unbelievably out of touch with the rest of America. If you read the bill, it is a common sense, practical bill. It just says, hey, our pre-K through third grade, we don't want you to talk to them about orientation, gender identity. We want to wait till they are age appropriate so they can actually digest and understand these concepts. What is controversial about that? Why are you so insistent on someone who is not the parent to be talking to young 7-year-olds about this? You shouldn't be anyway. You should be teaching those kids reading, writing, arithmetic. And that's it. It is not the teacher's place. The teacher is a federal employee. Free speech does not apply to them when they are in the classroom. That classroom is paid for by taxpayer dollars. Now, what the teachers do on their free time, okay, that's when free speech applies to them. Free speech applies to private citizens. And when you are clocked in as a teacher, you are not a private citizen. You are a federal employee. And those children don't have a choice. They have to go to school. By law, you have to attend some sort of school, and not everyone can afford private school. And no one should be talking to a child that young. That is, if this was like 5 years ago and you said that we were having this debate or this discussion, you would think we were insane. How far has this world gone? But this is why, Hollywood and celebrity more and more and more are just completely losing relevance. And I think it's a number of issues. I think it's this. They're very out of touch. Hollywood is filled with nepotism. It's interesting because you have all of these talks about diversity. We want to push diversity in Hollywood. But Hollywood is probably the least diverse place. And I would argue mostly because of nepotism. I guarantee you, when you're watching a hit show or a film that's doing really well, look at the main characters and just trace back who they're related to. I guarantee you most of them know someone. They're there because their cousin or their dad or their sister or their mom, someone is high up in the business and knows another person, and that's how that person got that opportunity. And this is another reason why Hollywood is so out of touch. You have someone like, okay, Amy Schumer right here, who is probably one of the most successful women in Hollywood. Why? I don't know. It seems like a few years ago they were just trying to make her happen. It's like they forced us to accept Fetch as a thing when we were like, no, Fetch isn't a thing. They were like, no, you will like her. She's a woman and she's a comedian. They put her in all kinds of movies. She had a hit show, all these comedy specials, and she still complains about how she's discriminated against because she's a woman, even though she's one of the most successful comedians in Hollywood, from men and women. If you just get an acting job in Hollywood, you just won the lottery. So when I see people that have the opportunity to host the Oscars, have the opportunity to have, how many movies did she star in? How many comedy specials did she have? She had a show on Comedy Central, and then you get up there and complain. What you could have done is you could have decided to be an inspiration for young girls. Instead, it's depressing because it's like, wow, even when you're that successful, life still sucks. You still have all these things to complain about. Anyway, that was just a little rant about the rest of the Oscars. But the smack heard around the world is what people are saying. I don't think it was staged. I think it was real. Let me know what you think. And I think it was just one more sort of embarrassing stain for the Academy. But before we leave, let's look at what people are saying. Oh, geez. I can't even read that. Yet they let him stay in his seat. You do. Yes, it does. You let the guy win. Yeah. Oh, gosh. I'm trying to be YouTube appropriate. Academy, we don't condone violence. Also, the Academy, we celebrate Will Smith, though. Yeah, I mean, it looks like most people agree. Again, that just shows they're out of touch. You say you don't condone violence and then literally give the person an Academy Award. Anyway, let me know what you think about that. Did you watch the Oscars? I'm going to go ahead and guess you didn't. And I'll see you later on. Goodbye.